Skinwalker sighting in Haystack, NM. This story was told to me by my brother. It occurred during the early 2000s. Smartphones had not been invented yet, only shitty flip phones with sketchy cellular service. My brother was an electrician, a journeyman. He was employed in a small border town called Gallup, NM. Gallup is situated on the cusp of the Navajo Nation reservation and the area called the checkerboard area, due to the fact that there are designated plots of land that are considered a part of the res and the next plot of land is not, like a checkerboard. There is large population of multiple tribes in the area such as Navajo, Pueblo, Zuni, etc. One night my brother and one of his co-workers who was Chinese American were the only two employees on call, in case of emergencies. A power line goes down or something catastrophic happens like that in the middle of nowhere, outside of Gallup towards the Continental Divide. He receives the call in the early morning hours shortly after 1 a.m. The co-worker had recently become the father of a newborn but desperately needed the hours. My brother calls him and they agree to meet up at the company stockyard. My brother waits about an hour or so, his co-worker still hasn't shown. It is strict company protocol to never go on jobs alone, always in pairs or more. Due to the hazardous nature of high voltage lines and electricity in general. My brother's co-worker calls and tells him that something is wrong with the newborn and he needs to take his wife to the ER and he'll meet up with him on site, also another injunction. They are strictly instructed to show up to the job site in the company vehicles which are equipped with tools required for the job and all that. My brother understands and doesn't want his co-worker to be docked pay or written up for violating company policy. Against his better judgment he heads out alone. The job site is quite literally in the middle of nowhere. The power lines spanning across the vast desert with red rock mesas in the far distance, in the daylight at least. At night time it is pitch black New Mexican desert. Only dirt roads and no houses or street lights for miles. None could be seen along the entire horizon. He waits as long as he cares to wait for his co-worker. He figures he'll assess the damage on his own and by the time his co-worker shows up he'll have a solution. He suits up and begins crawling the tall wooden pole. The company truck is parked facing towards the pole. The high beams illuminated the base and subsequent foreground. He reaches the top of the pole. Some time passes as he is trying to calibrate the issue or solve the problem, the power outage. Something on the ground below him catches the corner of his peripheral. He looks down in disbelief and shock as his mind tries to make sense of what he is seeing. He described it as a man crawling on all fours wearing the skin of a coyote, the skin draped along its back with the limbs like dead weight dangling towards the ground. He watches as the creature patrols the area. He said he witnessed the skinwalker encircle the truck with smaller and smaller orbits. Until eventually it stood up on 2 feet and peered inside the window of the truck on the driver's side. He described the motions of the skinwalker and said it was moving as if it was confused as to what was going on or where the driver of the truck was. From his vantage point he could infer that the skinwalker was male, was painted with black paint and white clay. Then on the horizon he could see headlights, his co-worker was en route. The skinwalker also noticed this, not figuring out that he was up on the power line pole. As his partner approached closer the skinwalker runs off into the dark on all fours. The rest of the trouble call was uneventful in regards to the skinwalker.